I was open to her saying something, and she said to me, well, out of all of our friends, you're the least reliable.
Whoa.
I was like, oh my God, what do
Wow.
you mean?
Wow.
Like, dagger to the heart, you know?
Twist.
Because
yes.
I was so reliable at work, right? But I was putting my friends on the back burner. So like they would invite me to a party and I'd be like, I'll let you know. Or like, oh, I can't. I'm traveling for work. I'm going to London. I'm going to LA. Like I was so cool,
Yes,
right? I mean, from that moment on, I was like, I am never going to be known to my friends as unreliable. And from that moment on, it changed everything. I never canceled on them. And if I committed to them, like I followed through. But if I couldn't, I would say like, I would love to be there, but I can't.
What happens when busy finally breaks you? Erin Binns knows this story oh too well. She went from life in luxury hotels where no was never an option to building a business where yes to less became her superpower. In our conversation with her, she shares the moment when a friend of hers told her, "You're the least reliable person I know." That was her wake-up call that made her pause and eventually pivot. She talks about simplicity, intuition, and how one blue dress sewn by her mom's coworkers taught her the power of community. It's honest, funny, and full of art. This is the pause that paid off. Erin Binns, so great to have you on the show. I love your story and I love the journey that you've gone on. I love how you've reinvented yourself so many different times. So, whether it was your experience in the luxury hotel segment, whether you're as a realtor, now as a successful entrepreneur, like you've reinvented yourself multiple times over. How do you introduce yourself at a dinner party without sounding like someone from the witness protection program? I'm curious. I'm having the same challenge myself here. So I'm kind of curious about that.
Oh my gosh, I know. Well, right now I would introduce myself as, a business coach and consultant. I really help individuals as well as corporations, like teams, simplify things in their life, their business, so that they can really enjoy what we are meant to be doing or whatever that is for people, but really get back to simpler ways and uncomplicating life so it works so much better is really what I do for people.
I love that. Do they love complication? We all say we want simplicity in our lives, but I mean, we make it more complicated than it needs to be. Is that what do you see when you engage with your clients that way?
I truly believe that people overcomplicate things because they want, whether it's in a corporate setting, I was in corporate for 20 years, whether it's in a corporate setting or whether it's individual, whether it's, my neighbor, a local mom, whatever it is. I truly believe that people have tied their worth to their busyness, that they have to show their worth by how busy they are. So I think that's where the complication can come in, where it's just showing that you're valuable, even though you are already valuable as a human being anyways. But when you are trying to prove yourself in the office with, more constraints or more pressure on you, or prove yourself to your friends and your family, even though you don't need to prove anything, but that you're important or you're keeping up with the Joneses type vibes. I truly believe that's what it is.
Interesting. And so when you look at your own sort of journey as well, where you said in some way, shape or form that you've also kind of gone through that process where either yourself, others were busy as like this badge of honor, until it kind of caught up to you. So when did you have that moment when you realized like this pace isn't sustainable for me anymore? Did you have that epiphany? Was it sort of the death by a thousand cuts? Was it a slow journey? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
For sure. Well, there's two things that happened. The first thing I would say is I was all of those things when I was in corporate. I was trying to move ahead and I wanted to be reliable. And I put my work first for everything. And listen, I didn't have kids at the time. I didn't get married till much later. So I had all the time in the world to do it. I mean, that I didn't have other responsibilities, right? But I remember years ago, and I was always like with my friends, I was the last one to get married. I was the last one to have like a long-term relationship. Like I was just the last for most of it. But I remember I took this personal development course, and one of the activities or the things that you had to do was go call your family members, like, and either tell them how much you love them, or if you have a sticky situation between them, going, sort of deal with it kind of thing. And, but the loving the people, I'm like, oh, so I can call my mom, no problem. Like I have a great relationship, all this stuff. But I have a lot of my friends, my very, very close friends, like I have been friends with them for almost 40 years now. Wow. And so I called one of them and I said, just want to say how much I, love you, care for you. But is there anything that you want to say to me? And so she goes, and also like I was open to her saying something. And she said to me, well, out of all of our friends, you're the least reliable. Whoa. I was like, oh my God, wow. What do you mean? Wow. Like, dagger to the heart,
twist.
Because I was so reliable at work, right? But I was putting my friends on the back burner. So like they would invite me to a party and I'd be like, I'll let you know. Or like, oh, I can't, I'm traveling for work. I'm going to London. I'm going to LA. Like I was so cool, right? I mean, yes, I was in my 20s and early 30s, but at the same time. So I was like, well, from that moment on, I was like, I am never going to be known to my friends as unreliable. And from that moment on, it changed everything. I never canceled on them. And if I committed to them, like I followed through. But if I couldn't, I would say like, I would love to be there, but I can't. I'm actually really out of town. But I would always just say, I'll let you know if I can come to see if something better would come up.
Right. Okay.
So there was that. Huh. And the second part was when I left my corporate job. I think I finally had time to breathe when I went on maternity leave, my first maternity leave. I loved it. This is great. I'm just like, going for coffee with people. Yeah. And I'm just like, I just had, I think, the space to breathe. And I know that's not a luxury for everybody to take that much time off. And if you're American listening, I'm sorry that you only, get a few weeks off, having a year off here as hard as it is to be a parent, it was, a great thing for me. And I knew that going back to the office, I mean, there was, I think maybe one person on my team, the whole team of the sales and marketing team that had a child. Like nobody else had kids because the hours that you would work you couldn't. Yeah. So I sort of knew that. And the catalyst really was, not going back to corporate. And I had gone and I was getting my real estate license on the side when I was at corporate, just as a backup. So I sort of had those things. So yes, there was a moment of impact. Then there was a death by a thousand cuts kind of.
Got it.
That followed it. Yeah.
Did your friend know how much of an impact or like how much of an epiphany that they had given to you as an individual? You realized,
we talked about it a long time ago, but that was also, I would say, that was probably 15 to 17 years ago that happened. So we don't talk about it anymore. Like I don't really like, it's kind of like we're besties and we love each other and we just kind of moved on. You don't need to, beat it.
Well, I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. Very impressive. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, you, when you look at your journey over the course of your career, you spent, as you talked about, almost 2 decades or so in sort of this luxury hospitality environment where excellence meant essentially never saying no, right? The customer is always right, essentially. Oh, yeah, for right? Sure. And then no matter what. And then now your work is about saying yes to less. So how do you make that shift? Was it awkward at first to start saying no to clients, maybe your opportunities, or maybe even to old habits? How has that shift and how has that pivot gone for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's twofold. One, I'm getting a lot older now. So it's like you really don't care sometimes. Yeah. You're not trying to prove yourself as much. And I think as much as we can get into the whole next life of what women go through. But I would say that it's see what women go through. We lose our train of thought.
Not just
you're
women.
like, I'm thinking of this word, and this word is cat, and I can't remember what I was going to say. Repeat the question, and then I'll get
No, just more about the fact you've the
how
time you spent.
yes. Okay,
shift.
so I definitely gave up the trying to keep up with everybody else and really lean into my own intuition and my own trust with myself a long time ago. And I think that and it has evolved, it's gotten stronger over the years for sure. It doesn't come overnight or a snap of a finger, but I would say that relationships are really, really important to me for those that are like those relationships that are really, really deep, and that I am well respected and all that type of everything that goes along with that. So I don't really necessarily, I'm coming from a people pleasing. I grew up as a people pleaser all the time. So I have had to let that go. And, at the end of the day, somebody once said to me, somebody else's opinion of you is none of your business.
Yes.
And I know we've heard that, and I know, but really like sinking in, like, who gives a flying hoot what Martha thinks of you, whatever.
Yes.
To a certain degree. There are people who I really want, to have great relationships, but I want it to be, a reciprocal relationship. For the relationships that are not, reciprocal, bye. Like I've not cut people out. Like it's like, I just stopped calling them or stopped texting or like, and I'm not friends with them anymore.
Okay.
And I don't need to have a big conversation with them. I don't need to get complete about it or anything. It's like, no, it's just not, I don't want to be around you.
Well, what you mentioned makes so much sense. And it's something that it's been an evolving journey for me, this idea of not letting other people's opinions of you form your own reality, right? And it's such a journey, because also for someone like me, who I would also consider myself a recovering kind of people pleaser, but maybe it is time, maybe it is age, but maybe it's also the fact that I've tried to listen to my intuition a lot more, which is hard because I find that in the society that we've kind of grown up in, it's more about you focus on logic. What is your head saying versus what your heart is saying and what it's feeling, where it's guiding and directing you to. And it's a bit too, I don't know, maybe it's a bit too woo-woo for most people or the way we are. So it's interesting that way. I don't know what you...
Yeah. I think that there's just this of the whole people pleasing. It's just a way of really keeping us small and not really expressing how we really feel. And, I come from my growing up, like my opinion didn't really matter.
Yes.
Like Erin is super reliable. We don't have to worry about her.
Yes.
There's other things that, we don't need to get into the whole history of it, but it's just sort of like, just leave her alone. She's fine. My mom would still say to this day, like, I never have to worry about you. I still don't have to worry about you. You're fine. But also at the same time, it wasn't that I was ever like, are you okay? Like, are things, so it was that my voice was not being heard. And it is something that I actively work on, of speaking my voice, because it doesn't come super naturally to me, because I don't want to ruffle the feathers and all that kind of stuff, but it's coming more naturally as I get older. And I also, now that I have a son who's 10 and a daughter who's 5. And now that I have a daughter, for sure, for me, it was, very, very, I'm learning a lot about myself. And I think when she came along, I was like, oh, she is here to teach me something. I don't know if this is a PG thing or if I can swear, but like,
please do.
This is what we say. This is what my brother says. He's like, she's here to fuck shit up. Like, she is taking no prisoners, and she is like, I don't care what other people think. And she's also super caring at the same time, but she's like, listen, I like Spider-Man. I don't like princesses. Okay. Why does everybody want me to like a princess? I'm like, exactly. Right.
Beautiful.
Amazing. Right. But she's a very, like, her and my brother are like kindred spirits. They are like two peas in a pod, but he is just like, she is here to, like a WWF wrestler, she is here to, right. So, which is so awesome. But I'm learning so much from her, and she's 5 going on 15. So,
wow.
I love it.
Intimate politics can be so different that way. Like it's funny. Your son is the one who stands out to me only because of the fact that we've got a mutual friend who lives just down the street from us. And I think I feel like the first time, maybe this,
No, the first time we
at
met
the birthday
was
party?
with Corinne.
Corinne. Oh, wow. Okay. That's like wow. Who's now in
Yeah.
the US and hers. Oh, I don't
Yes.
remember. Wow.
I think that was the first time at a birthday party of some sort. I think at Lucian's birthday party
Oh,
or something.
okay. Maybe it was her son's
Anyways,
birthday. But okay.
yeah.
Because for me, what sticks out was your son and his. He was enamored by the birthday cake. Whatever. I remember that whole thing. I was like, I love this kid. Just the excitement, enthusiasm for. He's like, is the cake coming? Is the baby? I just remember that sticking.
We're all
out
about
to
the
me.
cake over here.
All about the cake.
This is like why you make time
that?
in your life to do things that you love is baking and
Exactly.
sewing. Yeah.
Exactly.
So.
I love how our kids are so different because I could see the same thing in my two. Like I being a girl dad, two young daughters, turning 9 and 12 next month. And I worry about that. I also think about that, the way your mom thinks of you in terms of like, oh, we don't have to worry about you is the same way I think about my oldest. She is 12 going on 52. She's just very mature, always kind of correcting everyone's behaviors. What's going on? Don't forget to turn off the light. I have a knack of forgetting to turn off lights. And so she's put on the wallpaper on my screen here. Daddy, don't forget to turn off. I'm like, I don't even know how I was closing things down. I'm like, who put this on here? And sure enough, and I asked Jess, I'm like, did you go on my laptop? She goes, I don't even know what your password is. No. I'm like, who did this? And I found out it was her. You always leave the lights on, Daddy. I have to always remind you have to think of the environment. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I think of my youngest, who's like the Tasmanian devil, who was kind of like, let's leave all the lights on. Let's blare the music. If there's an opportunity to dance on the table, she's all over it. But they're so different. I love how I'm also learning from both of their personalities.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So interesting.
For sure. Yeah.
This idea of slowing down, once you built this kind of slower, saner business, did you miss any part of the chaos? Do you feel like it's kind of weird to,
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, yeah, I do sometimes miss like the buzz of everything.
Yeah.
Like I can remember though, like being in the hotel and I'd be standing in the lobby and like the doors would be opening, those automatic doors, right?
Yes.
They would open and close. And I would be greeting guests and I worked in sales. So I would like just be in the lobby, seeing my clients. And I was like, I wonder what that woman does. What kind of business does she have? Is she like, I would just wonder what all these people are doing.
Yeah.
And that was really like the curiosity about the whole entrepreneur. I was like, I know I'm going to do something for myself. Like I just knew it. So, but I miss the team function of being a part of a team, being like that. Like I used to thrive a lot in that. But as I've gotten older, I've realized I don't really like a lot of people anymore. And I just like to be by myself sometimes. Like if I really like pick up on people's energy very easily. And so I get a lot of energy when I'm around the right type of people, but if I'm around the wrong type of people, I literally come home and I feel like I am hungover. I haven't even had any alcohol. And it's just, I just am like I feel like my insides are like just so exposed. Right. And I can also pick up the vibe of a room. I was like, oh, I don't like that. Oh, that person, like this. I went to a retreat a couple of weeks ago and I was leaving and I said to my friend who ran the retreat, I'm like, these women are pretty repressed. And she's like, I know. I was like, nobody's expressing their feelings around here. And she's like, how did you? And I was like, anyways, it was just, I can just pick it up. I just know it's one of my intuitions. I can pick up on what people are dealing with pretty easily. And I think that really helps me in business because it's not just about the strategy, the go. Right. It's about, okay, let's make your schedule work for you. What's really going on here? What are you really not saying? What are you scared of? Like, okay, great. Like, let's work through that. You don't like sales? Okay, great. Well, here's a way that you can actually sell your product or your service without selling, and really developing those things. So I think that people appreciate that because otherwise people are just ramming strategies down people's throats that are like a fit for everybody. For them, they're like, do it the way I did it. And this is, and it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work, how people are operating. And everything is different for everybody. So, you can have elements of,
Yep.
a framework and a structure, like some structure, but you need to be able to ebb and flow in between the two of them.
Agreed. What you said earlier around the fact that you reading off people's energies, and that's something I feel like I've now kind of appreciated and seen as well. It's like the times when I see you at drop off, at school, like you're always radiating, like happy. You're always happy. You're always very content. You're always chatting with other parents. That's it. I think that's one of the things I'm like, I would love to talk to you. The privilege of being able to have this podcast is that you get to engage with people who you're like, well, I'm curious to know more about them. Or why are they always so content? Like they're always radiating this kind of aura around them. And I feel that when I've seen you also exhibiting those characteristics. And, even though I don't know you intimately, and a lot of these times I've seen you, we've had initial conversations and laughing, that type of thing, right? But I'm like, you've got a very interesting background. And I love how you've kind of shifted and pivoted throughout your career. And you talked earlier around the fact that you were looking at getting into real estate while you were getting your license, while you were working in the hotel business. Like, what was the sort of the rationale behind that?
Well, the rationale was that my mom was a real estate agent, my brother was a real estate agent, and it was it was sort of a natural, okay, I'll go and do that, even though it was like, you're going to do that with a 1-year-old? And I was like, So I did it for 6 years. And I was like, I can't do it too small. I shouldn't say I can't do it. I don't have any support. We don't have any support here. Like my mom lives an hour away and we don't have any other grandparents. My mom's the last one. So it just was not what I want to be doing.
Got it.
Yeah. And also with 2 little kids, it was, maybe now seems a little bit easier, but I gave up my license and I'm moving on from it. I've learned so much from it. I got out of my comfort zone with it. But yeah, it is a tough gig. Let me tell you. Yeah. It's not the old heydays where you just like put a sign up on the lawn and you're like taking offers. Who wants it? Like a auction or whatever. Right. It's people don't realize how much work goes behind it. So.
What's the one thing? Because I feel like during the heydays, you said while you're kind of nailing your for sale sign, you're also plastering the sold sign at the same time, type of thing, right? And so, what do people not know? Like, what's the 1 or 2 things where like, what, you have no idea what goes on behind the scenes in terms of the sale or the amount of work that's done or the heavy lifting that's required?
Oh, for sure. I mean, first of all, getting a house ready to be sold is like every single meticulous thing. Managing clients' expectations.
Oh yeah, that's
1,000% takes like a suit of armor sometimes.
Yes.
But also winning bids on houses when you're not the highest bidder based on your relationship with the other agent, because the other agent wants to work with you because you're easy to work with, as opposed to, Joe Schmo or whatever, who's just like, well, we're but they're really awful to deal with, or their conditions aren't great, or what have you. I mean, I've won stuff when we weren't the highest bid, but it's because of everything. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's not as if like the delta was that big.
Right.
But if a client is willing to take less, $5,000 less because of like this person, is really great to work with, 100%. Or you have confidence that the deal is actually going to close because you have such confidence in your client. Yeah. So I think, at the end of the day, Charles, you cannot manage your relationships with AI. You can't, you can't create connections with, a broken system of your back end or, any of that kind of stuff. And you can't recreate energy or, thoughtfulness with a computer. Like you just can't. And I think that's why when you see me at the school chatting with people I enjoy chatting with, there's some.
Now I know. She's not talking to that person. Okay.
Well, there's Charles, gotta go. No.
Exactly. I'm like, why did she just walk by me and not say anything? I'm like, okay, yes. Now I know.
There's Susan from the parent council. Got her on. Like, I do not join the parent council. No, thank you. I'm too like, listen, lady, I think that's a terrible idea. No, but I honestly, when I say deep, meaningful relationships, I don't mean I'm sitting here talking about philosophy and all this kind of stuff, but somewhere where I feel at the end of the day, Charles, this is the key, is that all people want in this world is to feel like they are seen, they are heard, and they're appreciated. That is it. I truly believe that. You look at your own family dynamic, my husband will be like, well, guys, I did all this for you and you don't he'll be talking to all of us. I don't feel appreciated. And then I was like, well, I don't feel appreciated, and it would just kind of, and like, oh, wait, so we make sure we, are teaching our kids and all that kind of stuff. And also myself as well. And him appreciating me for cooking all, whatever.
Yes.
Right? You want to be seen, like that your opinion matters, that it is worth something, even if you don't agree with somebody. And that they're just, and that they're heard. And I honestly, I feel like that is the, it's the key to creating connections with people and just being a good neighbor. Honestly, goodness, like that's, and I know people don't have the bandwidth to do that, or it seems like a bigger thing than not, but like even taking in your neighbor's garbage for them and putting it by the side of the house, like that's a really nice thing to do for somebody. It's not rocket science, and everybody's overcomplicating things and thinks that AI is going to fix everything and all this stuff. No, it's not, I was a couple weeks ago, I was walking, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw this woman crouched down by a tree, and I was like, something's going on here. And I walked by and I went over to her and I could hear her crying. And I was like, are you okay? And she looked at me and she's like, I'm just so sad. I'm overwhelmed. I'm tired. And she was just having a breakdown.
Oh, wow.
And I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to help this woman here. I'm like, what do you need? Who can you ask for help? And this, and I was like, do you want a hug from a stranger?
Wow.
And she was like, yeah, I do actually. And I think it was this beautiful connect moment, that I could be of service to her and help her through. And she's like, so I mean, the story does go on from there, but I feel like, this woman she just needed to be seen. She needed to be heard. She needed to be, acknowledged of that she's going through a tough time. And she's like, I'm going to go home and I'm going to ask my friends if they can help me with X, Y, and Z. And, but I feel like that woman is so many people. They're just not showing it. Or it's not manifesting in a way of crouching down by a tree and crying.
Right. What a beautiful story. Wow. And kudos to you for actually taking the time to actually impart, because, when you live in a big city, or even
I couldn't walk by. I couldn't live myself if I didn't say something.
But so was that, have you always been like that, or has that changed over time? Has having kids done that to you, or you just?
No, I think I've always just been that. I think I was born that way.
Very interesting. Yeah, because I mean, you what you said around being seen, being heard, feeling like you matter, like you have a contribution to make, it is, and it goes back to your whole kind of thesis, your whole ethos around simplicity, right? And how we overly complicate things. And that, I don't know, where have we lost that? Either where have we lost along
community. Community is, when they say it takes a village to raise. We all have to create our own villages now because we don't live so close to family members and people are having less kids. The village is very small. And so I feel like I've created a village here with a lot of the moms from school, and things like that. It's still not to the level of where, my mom, we lived in Nova Scotia. My mom just went back last week, after 30 years. Wow. And there was her and her 4 friends, and my mom got divorced. And she's like, I would have never survived my divorce if it wasn't for those ladies.
Oh, wow.
Who they're like, drop your kids off. I'll do that. They all came together. They all also ended up getting divorced as well.
Okay.
And so they all sort of, but they all, my mom will say to this day, I never had friends like I had that there. And she actually saw one of them, while she was visiting them. And she said, I remember you because then we moved back to Ontario. And she said, I remember you and the kids getting in the car. And I just felt like you've left me. I had no village left. Everybody left me. And I mean, it's just so heartbreaking. But I think we have to create this for each other, and really check in on our friends and be like, are you okay? just checking in.
Mm,
It's not that hard,
mm.
but we get so wrapped up in our own
We do.
stuff.
We do.
And people are dealing with a lot. So I don't want to negate
Yeah.
what people are actually really dealing with, because they are dealing with a lot of things.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you take the emphasis off yourself and do something for everybody
Well,
else, you actually feel so much better. There's research done that you actually get more out of giving than you do receiving.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, I know we know this, but there's
Yes.
actual scientific proof
Yes.
that
Yes. Putting
it
into
does. But
practice.
yeah, we just become sort of a really selfish society, to be
Yeah,
honest.
very individualistic. And you compare that to, I don't know, we were talking earlier about baseball and the fact that the city is obviously kind of all been swept up into this playoff hoopla hysteria, because I don't think anybody could have envisioned at the beginning of the season that the Toronto Blue Jays would be in the World Series.
No,
And
they were not slated to
you
win. That's
kidding?
for
No
sure.
way. I remember it was not too long ago when the spring we had attended one of the first games and they got blown out 7-1. You know, regardless, it's been very interesting, talking about the fact that we live in a very insular, very individualistic society. I compare that to some of the places that I've been very fortunate and privileged to travel to. One in particular place is Japan, where they have a bit more of a collective mindset. And I saw this playing out. We were watching one of the recent games, Blue Jays versus the Dodgers, and Shohei Ohtani, obviously famous baseball player, signed a significant contracts, $750 million, I think, over X number of years. And there he was handing out kind of Gatorade drinks to all the members of his team, right? Like this would be, you wouldn't see any of the other players doing that. Or I can't remember the name of the pitcher. Maybe you'll remember the name of the Japanese pitcher that plays in the Dodgers. He was there cleaning up the dugout after everyone had gone. All the sunflower seeds, all the things that people were spitting out, he was there cleaning up. And here is this guy, a world famous baseball player, pitcher and baseball player, both of them. That's just the mentality there of making sure that everyone else is okay, as opposed to just you yourself first. And it's something that's so interesting to see how, yes, in many ways we're insular and individualistic, but really determines where you come from, what your community was like, what your norm was like in terms of growing up and how you grew up and all that. So it's such a marvel. I know it's so interesting to see my kids see that. Like, Daddy, why is he giving everyone cups of Gatorade? Like, he's the star player. Like, I'm like, no, that, so for them, that's so me first, right? So
for sure. I think it's about, coming together as a community and for like a common goal, and or not even a common goal, just to be to make a difference in somebody's life. I think, when I say when you actually asked me about, was I always like that?
Yeah.
I would say there was also one other moment where the community rallied around me, and I was in grade 8. It was my grade 8 graduation.
Okay.
And that was I'm going to date myself now,
yes,
Charles. So that was in 89, 90.
Okay. Still
and
busy. Oh God.
that was like where in Ontario, like the economy was very bad. My mom was a newspaper ad sales rep.
Okay.
And the economy was terrible. Like my mom's friends were helping us buy groceries. We still had our house and everything, but like people were helping us get by. And my mom, we would go to visit my aunt, and my mom actually asked her for help. My aunt was very well off and stuff. And my aunt was like, no, I don't know what transpired.
Right. You're younger. Yeah.
Right. So she said no. And she kicked us out of the house, and we never spoke to her again.
Oh, wow.
But behind that was that my aunt was going to pay for my grade 8 grad dress. And so I can remember driving home from Guelph. We were going back to our house, and I was like thinking to myself, like, this is horrible what I just witnessed, like all this fighting and stuff.
Yes.
And I was like, and my mom is just so not that person either. Like I'm not going to get into all of it, but it's just like, she's pretty super level headed. Maybe that's where I get it from. But I was like, who's going to buy my dress? Like that was what my main concern.
Yes.
And because I knew we didn't have the money for it. And like I had planned this dress and all this stuff. Anyways, it was just so amazing. I mean, it makes me want to cry now, but there were some ladies in my mom's office. One lady bought the fabric. The other lady sewed the dress. One of my brother's friends' moms bought my shoes.
Wow.
My aunt paid for my hair to be done. And I get so emotional because I was like, Oh my God, everybody came together. And listen, this dress was blue taffeta. It was like off the shoulders. My mom's like, that is too sexy. You cannot. I was like, oh, I'm wearing it. So it was all of these things, right? But everybody came together. So this blue dress, I still have the dress in
You
my
still
closet.
have the dress.
Yes, I have the dress. It's downstairs in the basement. But everybody came together. So for this moment, right? So then a few years later, when I was in high school, I was like, as soon as I could get a job, I was making money. Like I was, doing all these things. And my mom came home and she said, there's a woman in the office, her daughter's graduating and she doesn't have the money for a dress. And I was like, oh my God. And apparently I don't remember this, but back when you had a checkbook, I wrote a check for $100 out of my own bank account.
Wow.
And I gave it to her. I was like, oh, I know. Oh, so I think that was so, for me, it was such a pivotal moment for me. And I think that really was like, just ingrained in me of how I want to operate in this world.
I'm getting goosebumps as you say that. I just,
yeah. I mean, it was pretty I've told that story many times. I haven't necessarily cried about it, but it's,
beautiful.
It was like, I will never throw out that dress. I'm like, Annie can wear it to her grade 8 graduation or it'd be a Halloween costume for somebody. Right? Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it was just, everybody just came together and I couldn't believe it. Like matching white shoes with a white bow. I'm telling you, it was a sight to be seen, Charles.
I can only imagine the way you're describing it. I'm like, I love.
I'll find a picture and I'll send it to you.
That would be great. Thank you. I love that story. That is so, and I love that you still remember it in such exquisite and intimate and intricate detail. I
can remember sitting at the hairdresser, getting my hair done in a French roll with a bow in the back. Like it was pretty,
I would never have known what that is, but now that I've seen pictures of Janet's,
like rolled on both sides, and then
so it almost kind of mimics her high school graduation picture. That's so funny. Oh,
right, yeah. But I don't know. Like it was a simple gesture that they probably. I mean, it was a big deal that this woman sewed my dress, right? But for her, she probably was like, she loves sewing, and she's like, of course I'm going to do it. And they all just came together and. Yeah, those ladies, like my mom had these core group of like ladies who worked at the newspaper, the ladies in Halifax, these things. And I feel like I've created that as well. Like I have my friends from high school that we are best friends still. And I have my newer friends here, in the neighborhood and go from there. And I think that's like so powerful. And so.
That's, as you say that, I think about the good people along my journey, great people, friends who've been along my journey. And, we go back every summer to see my parents who are in Ottawa. And I see a lot of my friends are still based in Ottawa. And when I go back, I just feel so grateful, so privileged, so blessed to be able to reconnect with friends. I remember I was saying one of the stories was, I was new to the school. I remember this one kid vividly. Who can help Charles, adjust to this new school? This kid put up his hand. We end up being, I think our backyards backed onto each other. We've kept in touch on and off, and I love the fact that I can return back as if nothing ever has changed. Like no time has passed. Our kids interact with each other. I was like, this is such a gift. I've known this guy for like 30 something years and we joke around. We have so much fun. It's such a joy. I'm like, wow. And I've said sometimes, every time I'm like, thank you so much for welcoming the girls, welcoming us like family. Because you're not, or friends. They're such great friends. Because you're not friends, you're family. You guys are. Like, this has become such a part of our summer tradition of us going to their backyard, swimming in their backyard, hanging out. My girls look up to his older daughter. It's just such a. How you have people like that who have been a part of your journey? It's such a joy. It's such a privilege to be able to have that. So hearing you talk about that is beautiful.
But I think you also have to share with people a little bit of yourself in order to receive that.
Yes.
There's a lot of people have a big front up. Like trying to prove
all of
something.
Us, most of the time, yes.
And people just want to know a little bit about you. Just a little. You don't have to share everything about your blue dress, okay? Like you can share something because people really want to know you. Like when people say, I would have never known that about you if you hadn't told me. Right? There's more of that. So if I would say anything to everybody, share just a little bit or ask somebody how they're doing.
Yes. And try and get beyond the facade of I'm okay. Like, well, okay, what makes you okay? What's going on? Like, it's always that balance, as you say, but
Just don't say, I'm busy.
yeah,
How are you? I'm busy.
stand
That
that
is not
actor.
a response.
Completely
Like,
agree.
the one thing
Like,
I will say is that actually stops the conversation. It
yes.
doesn't move it forward. And what's the other person supposed to do with it?
Yes.
Like,
good point. Good point.
Great.
Now what?
Susan.
Yes.
Right? Like, so I think it's like, I say, like, life is full. It's great. Life is full. Like, it is great. It's busy, but, you know, you're never not going to not be busy.
Yes.
Until you retire.
Exactly.
And then you do nothing. Like, not nothing, but like
it's a different
don't
stage.
have, you're not managing kids. You're doing what you want and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. So when we talked about simplicity and the work that you're doing now as an entrepreneur and helping people find simplicity in their life, what's one no that turned into your best yes years later in life?
One no?
Yeah, something you said no to that turned out to be the best yes later in life.
Oh my gosh.
Or what's something you said no to that you wish you had said yes to?
Yeah. Probably I would have said that, although I worked for one company for almost 20 years, but I did have a break in there. I did quit and go backpacking around Australia for a year by myself when I was 25. And then I came back and they reinstate, like I worked in Vancouver at the company. And then I came back and worked here at the property.
Okay.
So I said no to, like I was sitting there at my desk in Vancouver and I'm like, at 25 years old, I'm like, is this it? It's like, literally, is this it? Yes. Like, I mean, I love the company. It was an amazing company. I love it so much. But I was like, literally, is this it? So I was like, and my office mate was like, you should go backpacking in Australia by yourself. And I was like, what are you talking about? So literally, if it wasn't for her, actually, both of them, one of them on my left side and then the other one on my right, they both done it. And so I literally had them both beside telling me like, do it. So I went into my boss, who I absolutely adore to this day. He was like, literally would refer to me as Bins. And if he called me by my first name, I was like, I didn't make my quota or something, but I said, I'm quitting. I'm going to go backpacking. And I started crying. And he's like, why don't you come back on Monday and tell me again? Like, if you really want to do it, fine. And we'll just pretend this conversation never happened. I remember it was a Friday night. He's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I want to quit, And anyways, he was like, just come back and tell me. Anyways, I went in on Monday and I was like, no, I really want to do it. I do it. I'll give you 3 months notice, that kind of thing. But that was like the best thing I ever did for myself, for sure. I said no to like the grind earlier on. Now, did I go back and do a bit more of the grind later? Yes. But I did take that time.
I love it.
To be by myself and backpack by myself and, meet. I have great friends I'm still friends with, like that one of my best friends I met when I was backpacking. So
beautiful. I love that. I would
say that. And that one thing, and I wish, I had said yes to entrepreneurship earlier than I did. I was just too scared. I was just too scared to go on my own. Yeah. The fear of the unknown, or like, can I do it? So I feel like my feet were to the fire a little bit near the end, but I wish I had that confidence to do it earlier.
I completely agree. Yeah. I mean, it's that same kind of question you hear time and time again. What would you go back and tell your younger self? And for me, the message for me is I would have taken even more calculated risks along the way. And it's always hard because hindsight's 2020. You're like, everything's kind of largely worked out its way as it has. But I'm like, it's again, fear of the unknown. Everyone always talks about this whole thing about failing forward, failing, frequently or faster, failing often, all that stuff. But no one ever talks about, I think for me, the missing piece is the recovery. When you make the mistake, how do you recover quickly so you can kind of pick up and continue on down that path? And I think I love you're probably obviously familiar with this, the travel that we did as a family and the experience that we had as well. And so
Amazing.
I love seeing how my kids are far more open to, I've been calling it our failure immunity. So not necessarily making us immune to failure, but immune to the feeling that failure has had on us. And our kids are now more willing to, and not to make our travels and trip sort of the panacea to all our problems, but it's the fact that they've seen so much more of the world and they're far more open to taking chances and risks because they see the fortunate privilege they have, or they see that, oh, I can try this and it's not going to derail my life. And I'm trying to also kind of employ that in my own life as well. The entrepreneur focus on me as well, and thinking like, wow, I should have done this sooner. I mean, maybe, the world has a way of working itself out based on the fact that I needed to do those things first and have to find myself and question things before that I got to the place now of wanting to be able to pursue entrepreneurship as something that I wanted to do. So it's been such a beautiful and evolving journey that way. Yeah. Rapid fire questions for you, Erin.
Okay, go.
So hotel business.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta ask you,
who's the most famous person I've ever met? No,
definitely not. I've can you stay in a hotel now without having to inspect the corners or like judging the pillow quality?
Oh no, you can never take the hotel out of a girl.
Okay.
Yeah, no. It's really hard to pay for hotel rooms now, let me tell you, because we used to get like free rooms or discounts, and now you're like $300 for a room in Buffalo. What are you talking about? This is crazy. So yeah, no, but when you get friends, the great thing is now all the guys that we used to work with, they're all GMs now. Yeah, they're all. And you just call them like, a friend of mine was in Boston. He's like the GM in Boston. I was like, we got a suite upgrade. We got all these free, you got free, tickets to, so I was like, guys, like when you were in the trenches with them, working those long hours, now they're the big shot. Like, it's great. It's so awesome. I'm so proud of all of them. But yeah, no, definitely I love hotels, and my son loves hotels too. Like, he's just like, so I love a hotel. It's the best.
Okay. Now that you asked the question about the famous person, who would you say is the most, the famous person?
Oh, well, we used to host TIFF. So there was a lot. Like those doors that would be opening, you're like, oh my God, Bradley Cooper. Oh my God. All these people, you're just like, oh my God. You're like, you have to be all calm, cool, collected. I did have to press the elevator button for Brad Pitt one time. So that was pretty,
Did you not have to bring 10 fingers like the rest of us? What was the issue? Or is it just the thing that you do?
Oh no, it was just that it was like when when the rooftop bar was like the place to be, and all the celebrities were it was all very like calculated, and you had to put, you just didn't want some random person in the elevator with, he could definitely press. No, but I was this is like when you're the director of, corporate travel, and you're like, I'm the elevator person during TIFF, like that's like, which was like so fun. But yeah, tons and tons of celebrities, and they're all like 90% of them are just so awesome and so nice. So,
okay, I won't let you tell any tales at a school, but I'm sure. No. There's usually a few that you're like,
it's
really?
Recording. I can't.
Yeah. Well, usually I find it's always the hangers on, the people who support these people are the ones who are usually the more difficult people to deal with, as opposed to the individuals themselves. But so maybe that gives them the opportunity to be good cop, bad cop. What's one thing people assume about you that isn't true?
Yeah, I'm happy all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they think like I got it all together, and she's happy and she can do it all and everything. And I was like, I don't do it all.
Okay.
I don't put my kids in a million different activities. I say no to, certain things of like, if it doesn't work for my schedule. I don't do elaborate birthday parties for the kids. I'm like, you're turning 5, you can have 5 friends, and you're going to get your face painted.
Perfect. Yes.
Right. So, I think people think it's just like, I'm just happy all the time. And I have gone through really hard times, as well. So you just don't always talk about it. And
of course.
Maybe I should talk about it more. I actually am better at expressing it. But I just feel that people think that I've got it all together.
Okay. First thing you do in the morning before the world starts asking you for things?
I have a little charcuterie of things I can do. So I either read a book or I meditate or I just sit there and drink coffee in silence. Like I don't have like this regimented routine. But I'm reading this new book you might like called Bending Reality. It's really good. I'm only like on the first chapter, but just something new. It's just about your perception of how things are. But yeah, I try to we have a pretty calm household in the morning. And I eventually want to get to like working out in the morning, but we're getting there. Yeah.
Okay. Baby steps. I love that. Nice. Okay. And what's, we talked about the hotel life. What's the kind of, I don't know, behind the scenes secret that you can't unsee? If there is one, in terms of luxury hotel life.
Listen, the reason a luxury hotel works and how I've developed all of these systems and processes for myself, my businesses, is because of the inner workings of a hotel.
Oh, wow.
The behind the scenes. The hotel cannot operate in silos. The front desk cannot operate without housekeeping. Housekeeping cannot operate without engineering. Engineering cannot operate. Like it is all these things. It is having everybody working together and all being on the same page. And I bring that that's why I saw a huge opportunity when I was, I also do a lot of client services. Like what do you do to manage your clients? How are you acknowledging them? What do you do? And all these things. And they're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
I just sold this product, So yeah, what you don't see is the insane amount of detail that goes into everything they do, and the workflows, the systems, everything is like a well-oiled machine.
Beautiful
behind the scenes.
Erin, this has been such an enjoyable conversation. So easy, it just flowed. I'm like, I love getting to learn more about you. I love learning about that dress that you talked about as well. Beautiful. That's money. That's gold. I love that story. I love learning a little bit more about your family, your journey, the pivots you've made along the way. You have such a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you so much. It was so lovely. And thank you for having me on and asking me and
definitely. I'm so glad it worked out. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good for joy. And yeah, where can people find you? Where can they learn more about you and the work that you're doing?
For sure. My website, everything is erinbins.com. So erinbins.com, as well as Instagram and LinkedIn are both at Erin Bins. So perfect. I hang out on all three of those platforms. And yeah, it's even if somebody wants to have a conversation, just a quick call to be like, look, this is not working. This is what I need help with. And if I'm never the person for it, I have a huge network of really reliable people that I've worked with over the years. I will refer you to somebody else. Like I'm super transparent about that, or if it's out of my wheelhouse. But if you're looking to, increase obviously everybody's looking to increase their sales, but to do it, a client-centered strategy way to look at your back end things of what things are not working. What are you spending your time on that you shouldn't be spending your time on, or what can you outsource, all that kind of stuff. But then actually going and doing it. There's one thing to identify it, but it's giving you those actions to do it forward.
Operationalizing and executing against it. I love that. Erin, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Charles. I'll see you on the playground.
Sounds good.